A fire broke out in a multi-story building. From the balcony of the fourth floor, a little boy was screaming for help. Frantically, people on the road were trying to defuse the fire, but the flames were rising up. One man was bold enough to climb up through a storage pipe up to the fourth floor and picked up the boy and safely brought him down. But the man's face and hands were badly burnt in the ordeal. The boy lived with his mother, and the mother too died in the fire. A priest in a nearby church knew the family. As a temporary measure, he kept the boy in an orphanage until he found a suitable home for the child. He called up a meeting of church members to discuss about the adoption of the child. Many people loved to adopt the sweet little boy. A businessman at the meeting stood up and said, "He has enough money and he will take the boy home and take good care of him." Then a teacher got up and said that what the boy needs is not money, but a good education, and she was willing to adopt him. Then a doctor rose to his feet and said, "The child needs medical attention first, because he was suffering from shock, and also since he doesn't have children, he will adopt the child." The priest didn't know how to decide. So he told the boy, "You heard what these kind ladies and gentlemen are saying. To whose house would you like to go?" The little boy looked around and didn't know how to decide. There was a few moments of silence. Just then, a man who was seated at the back, silently listening to the discussion, rose to his feet. He didn't say a word. He only raised his burnt hands. The child quickly recognized him as the man who saved his life. The child ran to him, clung to him, and walked away with him, for the boy could trust only the man who was willing to die for him. The world is offering us many things to lead a comfortable life: money, wealth, knowledge, etc. There are also many teachers who have come to this world and ask us to follow their teachings and doctrines to lead a peaceful, happy, and a prosperous life. But there was only one person who was willing to leave the riches of heaven and come down to earth and suffer and die on a cross to save us. Let us follow him. You can recognize him with his nail-pierced, bleeding hands. There is a similar story about the wife of one of the generals of Cyrus, the king of Persia, who was charged with treachery against the king. She was called before Cyrus, and after the trial was condemned to die. Her husband, who did not realize what had taken place, came hurrying in. When he heard the sentence condemning his wife to death, he threw himself prostrate before the king and said, "O sir, take my life instead of hers. Let me die in her place." Cyrus was so touched that he said, "Love like that must not be spoiled by death." And he gave them back to each other and let the wife go free. As they walked happily, her husband asked, "Did you notice how kindly the king looked upon us when he pardoned you?" The wife replied, "I had no eyes for the king. I saw only the man who was willing to die for me." St. John tells us in John 20 verses 19 and 20 that after Jesus' resurrection, and when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. Dear friends, Jesus shows us his nail-pierced, bleeding hands today. Let us identify him as the one who came down from heaven and went to the cross to save us from eternal death. Let us follow him and him only and lead our lives according to his teaching. May God bless you. Amen.